Welcome to the Jay and Marco Show.
where we keep it real, raw, and respectful.
Got to do.
What?
So this is so 64.
64.
Yes, but you know what I realized?
Huh.
We probably have at least 3 seasons. If we broke our shows down according to how they produce them, like the Oprah Winfrey Show, I know it's not show, but you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's seasons.
True.
So you'll have season one and it might be 10 episodes. Then
Right.
season two has another 10 episodes.
Right.
So if we were to break ours down because we become syndicated,
We would be three in season three.
I think we would be past that.
You think so? How many
Well, wait,
seasons are
maybe
in a
not
year?
because it depends on what we're comparing ourselves to.
Oh, true.
You know, is it a daily show?
Mhm.
No, if it's a daily show, then we might be 3 seasons in. But if this is once a week, because you know how TV shows are released, you'll get a new episode once a week. So you'll have, I don't know.
I think that those are split. Is it by the year? Like a half a year?
Wow, I don't know. And
I
then
think
it's
back
weird
on-
because I just, I wonder, I'm gonna write this down. We need to talk about this. You know, they seasons be awkward. You can have two in one year,
Oh,
three in 1 year, but that might be some untapped potential. Or we need to, where can we?
mhm.
Yes, we gonna talk about
Okay.
that. Okay, well, welcome. Sorry, I think
Just do a little tree building here.
we keep it raw.
Mhm.
So that was definitely raw for you. But welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
This week we are going to be talking about boundaries or blind spots. Now, I'm gonna tell you how this conversation or this topic came about because I called Margot and I was just like, I was thinking about unblocking everybody on my block list. Yes, I have a block list. Yes, you have one. No, I'm just
I
saying,
think
I mean,
everybody should be having a
and
blacklist because you shouldn't just let anybody have free reign over your life.
is it free reign or so? Well, this is how it came about because I'm the type, if I work with you, I don't want you on my social media platforms. And this stemmed from a long time ago when people were just messy. And I just decided, not that I was posting anything about them, but people would just take the smallest stuff and use it. Or, oh, I saw you posted this and I don't want to talk to you about that. I'm here to work. So I had decided a long time ago not to befriend people that I worked with. Then they would send, you know, how the algorithm or the satellites you ping. And so Facebook might be, or Facebook will be people you might know. And then they'll send the request. No, don't send me a request. Now, I've gotten better. And this is what prompted this conversation because a coworker sent me a friend request. And I was like, oh, I'm not accepting that. But then I had to think about it. I'm like, you know what? It's some other people that I work with that's on my Facebook page. And so I accepted it. And then God said to me, he was like, you know, where I'm calling you or where I've called you to and where I'm taking you, people, that's how people have access to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how when I give you a word to release and you release it, it's released to the people that are on your page. And I was like, okay. So now I thought about my last like maybe 4 jobs, 5 jobs that I still have people block. And I was like, go through and I'm gonna just unblock everybody. Now I ain't sending the friend request. If I show up and you want to send one, I will accept. But I was like, I'm gonna clear out my block list. But then I thought about there's some people. Oh, this was tied in good with last week. There's some people that I've intentionally
Well, those are the ones I'm talking about.
blocked,
Need to stay blocked.
and he gave me a revelation on that too, because it's not even necessarily who you blocked, but why you blocked them. Now, this is how this conversation or this episode came about. But this is so much more than just a Facebook block
Mm-hmm.
list.
Mm-hmm.
This applies to so many areas of our lives where we say that we've set boundaries, but is it really a healthy boundary or is it a blind spot? And I got, he gave some definitions for these because blind spots can be detrimental to our growth, to our healing, to the calling, the anointing that God has on your life. If you don't address the blind spots.
So before you get into it, give us that definition because I had to ask her, so what do you mean then a blind spot?
Well, you want me to give the example that I gave you when we was talking on the phone?
Or even you got a definition for the blind spot?
Blind spot is avoidance disguised as control or empowerment of self, of oneself. So you're avoiding it.
Avoidance described as
control and or empowerment of oneself.
Now give the example.
Okay, so I gave her the example how when you're driving, even your rearview mirror would well, no, they tell you the objects may appear closer than but they really are. But when you're driving, before you switch lanes, you need to check your blind spot because there's a spot in your vehicle or in your view that your rearview mirror, that side mirror, isn't picking up on. And there can be I hate vehicles that ride in your blind spot because either pass me or fall back. But if you don't check that blind spot and there's a car right there, you're causing an accident. And you're going to be at fault for not checking your blind spot because you could have avoided that accident. But when it comes to our lives, if we don't look over and check the blind spot, the areas that we want to avoid, you're going to cause a mess. You're going to cause an accident because you wouldn't either let it pass, let it fall back, or adjust accordingly so that you can now move over and continue on the path that God has you on. That was good. I didn't mean to say all of that. But that's what a blind spot is. And we're talking any area in life. So keep the Facebook analogy in mind or conversation. But now your boundaries protect us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and even physically, because sometimes if you need to move away to put some distance between you and an abusive ex or an abusive family, like boundaries can be physically too, but they protect you. They're healthy. You know why you're setting these boundaries.
And then when we say abusive, toxic,
yes,
kind of came into my head. I think the majority of people are more toxic than they are really abusive. I'm not saying that toxic is good or that it should be dealt with, but people use family as like, oh, you got to put up with me because we're sisters, or oh, you got to put up with me because you're family. That's not the truth. Toxicity will run stress over your body, over your health, over your mentalness. Yes. So to block somebody because of their negative nature, their backhanded comments, whatever they're bringing to your peace,
manipulation.
Yup, block them.
Yes.
And you can even you don't even got to tell them, hey, I'm blocking you. Do it. Just do it. Quit answering their phone calls. You don't got to be texting back. And when you don't, we talked about this before, when you got to excuse people from your life, show them by not responding for a full day. Like if that person's used to you responding immediately, take a half a day before you respond. They'll be blowing up your phone. Let them. You don't owe nobody nothing. The only person you owe an explanation to would be whoever's living in the house with you. And that's it. And even at that, if it's your kids, you don't even really owe them an explanation because they should be under your authority if they're living in your house. And then it's kind of like slowly weaning them off of you, off of their access to you. Yes. Let me rephrase that. So then now that you got it down to taking a half a day, then make it a full day before you respond to them. And then turn that full day into 2 or 3 days before you respond. They will get the hint very quick. Either number one, they will start acting accordingly and respecting your boundaries, or they're just going to fly off the handle and then you're just going to have to block. And if they believe, well, what did I do or this and that, and just be like, I'm sure you tried to talk to them beforehand, and then just you can just say, what would be a good explanation to tell somebody besides I'm trying to protect my peace, because they might get offended by that.
Tell them I'm protecting my peace.
Yep.
Because it comes to a point where you have to use your words. You have to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You say what God says. And if that's what God is leading you to say, then say it. And if they get upset, that's why you're setting boundaries.
Yep.
Now, you may not be comfortable saying that. You can say something along the lines of, that's just something that I wish not to engage in at the moment.
Or I don't have the mental space for this, the mental capacity or the emotional capacity. I need to take care of me right now. That should be enough in itself.
Margot jumped down ways and she don't even know she jumped.
Oh,
it's one of the things that when it comes to boundaries is responding and not reacting. And so when you react, you don't give yourself the time to respond because you're going off of flesh. You're going off of how things feel right now in that moment. Like she said, give yourself some time to decompress. Give yourself some time to think about it and then respond.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even need to respond. You'll find that, you know what, I'm going to just ignore it. And then that will irritate the situation even more. Not on purpose, but just because of the spirit operating
through them
and in that situation. Because they're doing it because they want you to react. They're doing it because they want a response, any type of response. Margo know what I got going on. And I've gotten to the point where I don't even say nothing. Because at this point, it's almost like the child in class that's acting out, or even at home, that's acting out just to get behavior, attention, any type of attention, whether it's the parent yelling at them or the parent loving on them, they crave the attention.
Yeah.
Don't give it to them. So, a little story time. I love it when God brings to life the word, the scripture. And so I was like, who's a good example of boundaries and blind spots, and how can it relate to today's life? And so he brought to mind, or dropped in my spirit, Saul and David. Now, both were kings in their own time. Saul was king first, then David became king. But whenever you have time, go and study them. Talk about toxic.
Oh, yes.
Talk about manipulation. Talk about narcissists. And Saul, when he was king in his own right, had did a lot of great things. And now here comes this fine, young, sturdy, child that people were like, who is this?
He earned the love and respect
of the people. He and David had done great things before he even became king. But during this period of transition, Saul went from, hey, best friend, to off with his head.
Yep.
To wanting to kill David.
To jealousy.
To jealousy. Look, I got envy, insecurity, got to hear, he started to project like what he was going through. And this is the thing about these who stood.
He saw himself being replaced while he was still king, and he couldn't handle that.
That's what it is. And I don't even want it no more. But we're going to come back to that.
But you got to remember, and this is to everybody, and this is even going to be to me, okay? Because even like me as a mother, my season of motherhood is coming to an end.
Oh, we need to do a show on that because I am tripping. Did I tell you Carol told me she gonna be?
Yes.
Okay.
So even in your jobs, even okay, people in social media who gain a following, sometimes when they are not truly walking in their purpose, they start to fall off. So they have to gain relevance again.
Mhm.
So Saul was losing his relevance,
Mhm.
and he saw that, he felt it,
Mhm.
and he didn't like it. But his kingship was a season, and his season all depended on his attitude
Mhm.
towards God, and he didn't realize that.
And this is the twist or the turn that it's going to take, because most of the time when the story of Saul and David is shared, is always to encourage you on how David persevered, how David kept the faith, how David was obedient to Saul because
Mhm.
he was king.
Mhm.
But if Saul had only addressed his blind spots, David wasn't the problem, like
Yeah.
Margot just said.
No.
There could have been a beautiful transition of power between
Yes.
Saul and David. Had Saul just said, you know what? I don't need to be jealous because this is but for a season for me.
Yep.
There was a king before me and there's going to be a king after me. Let me train this young man how to go, how Jesus said that we are to do um greater works than
Yes.
he did.
Yep.
If Saul would have had that mindset to be like, you know what, I've defeated thousands, tens of thousands, and let me show this young man how to go and be great.
Yep.
Let me go into retirement. Saul probably had thousands of concubines and wives, which was acceptable in that time. And go and enjoy retirement, Saul.
Right.
And you have money. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Set this young man up to where you can be an advisor for him. So there's he wouldn't address his blind spots. And so that's why we see, or if you need to study, Saul and David, and David running from him because he
Yep.
wants to kill him.
And so that jealousy, that envy,
Mhm.
that those are blind spots.
Mhm.
Or I don't even want to say triggers. Your emotions are your triggers. Should
Mhm.
tell you, your emotions should tell you where your blind spots are.
Mhm.
Anything that you feel like you need to hold on to
Mhm.
is a trigger. That's a blind spot.
Yeah.
Because it will get you acting away
Yeah.
to keep that thing.
Yeah. It sure will. And the thing about trying to hold on to it is because I know Saul was like, because I remember when I used to be able to. I remember when I did. And as you get older, your body can't do. I can't run the way that I used to run when
Shoot.
I was in high school.
Stop.
You
I can't
know?
even dance the way I used to
Yes,
dance.
you know. And to see and Purview, Marco just talked about, our season of motherhood coming to, well, being had like underage kids
In the
in the
house where
house.
you have authority over.
Yes. Look at my oldest daughter, and she's the spitting image of me. Now I have filled out really well. She's still the skinny, but I look at her and I can only imagine. Now I'm not jealous of my daughter. I love what she's doing in life, but this is how Saul felt. He's looking at David and how he's coming in, and David can go and kill the lion. He can go and kill the bear. He killed
To even have the
Goliath.
to even have the courage as a young boy to step up
Yes.
outside of all those grown men.
Yes.
And Saul was over here.
No fear.
Right, and Saul was over here thinking he was doing a good thing, being like, take my
Yeah.
equipment, take
Yeah.
my
And that's what comes with age. We get comfortable. Not that we necessarily get scared, but we don't got time for the boat to be rocking. We want to just cruise. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the circle of life.
Yes.
That as I enter into a season, as Margot enters into a season of having to release our children into society, into the world, they get to be the courageous go change the world and will assist. We will provide counsel.
Yeah, counsel. That's where the wisdom comes into play. And that is also where the coaching, because it says the older women talk to the younger women, because we have to let them know what works and what doesn't work.
Yes.
Now, that don't mean with the technology of today. No, we are talking just the principle of things, because those things don't change over time. The
Right.
way you talk to somebody,
Yeah.
the way to how to tap into the Lord and hear from your Holy Spirit,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. So do some self-reflection with your boundaries. Or even so boundaries and blind spots, as we say. Because when you think about whether it be in a boundary or a blind spot, is it bringing peace or is it bringing or causing you to be panic, anxiety, doubt,
That's
worry?
Good. That's good.
Oh, excuse me. Are you feeling safe or are you scared?
Mhm.
Because we know God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. And if you have those feelings, do not ignore them. I'm not saying toss them out in the trash because too many people be like, oh, well, if that's not of God, so don't address it. If you're feeling scared, tell God, I am scared. Go
Do you
ahead.
know one of my triggers, and this could have been rooted in rejection,
Mhm.
was when I was trying to figure out if I should keep working on a marriage or not. That's
Mhm.
one of the hardest things to decipher, is when to let go.
Mhm.
And I remember always feeling like if I don't say something to this person or try to correct them or whatnot, then they're not going to heal,
Mhm.
or it's going to be toxic, or they're just going to want to walk away themselves,
Mhm.
because my path is going this way, their path is going this way,
Yeah. Yeah.
But like she said, it was rooted in kind of like fear.
Mhm.
Number one, fear of failing,
Mm.
because I was going to have a marriage that failed.
Mhm.
And then number two, the fear of them choosing a different path than what I wanted them to be on. Like, I see us together, but like this.
Mhm.
Or as you're in the relationship and they're being toxic, you have a fear of, God, this is not the life I know I
Yeah.
should be living.
Mhm.
Like, I'm made for more, or I should
Yes.
be
Yes.
celebrated. I should be
Mhm.
feeling secure and safe, where this person isn't making me feel that way. Listen
Yes.
to all of that.
Listen, it's a telling yourself, I deserve to be loved out loud. Cider. She know what that means. God loves me out loud. But this is why I'm saying do not ignore
Mhm.
what rises. So if you're like, no, I'm supposed to be happy, or no, it's supposed to be love, or not, sit with those feelings of fear, scare, panic, whatever it is, and address it. Because anything that you ignore does not go away.
So that I'm glad you brought that up, because how do you know when you're the problem? Because that was something I struggled a lot with too.
Mhm.
Like, because I was told that I was too much, or I was too dominating, or this and that. So I would be hypersensitive in situations because I heard that over and over again. But how do you know when it's you or when it's somebody else? And so
Yeah.
with that,
And this is where you have to be real with yourself. And this is what Saul missed because he would not sit down with himself to ask the tough questions. You have to give yourself tough love.
mhm.
And so like I recently went through something with my husband. Now I was in the wrong, but you couldn't tell me I was in the wrong when the situation first
Because that
happened.
sounds right. God loves me out loud. I
Yes.
should be loved out loud.
Yes. And I wasn't talking to Margot. I wasn't talking to nobody. It was just me, myself, and I having these conversations in my head about how I was right. He should allow me to do what I want to do. We're married. Like a week. I spent a week going in on this. And by the time I talked to Margot, I had a full plan in my head. But or no. I think I had it, but I kind of came around. But I still tried to ask her a question because I expected for her to agree with me, and she didn't. But addressing my blind spot was I ended up having a conversation with my brother, and I told him, and he was like, "Jay, you wrong." If somebody tell you wrong, you can't be like, I don't know. It's gonna probably sting. It's not gonna be what you want to hear. Now, don't go and ask somebody you know that don't like you. Don't ask somebody that you trust.
And don't ask somebody who's always gonna pacify you,
Yes.
even when you wrong.
Yes.
And you know you wrong.
Yes. And all it took, the conversation wasn't even 3, 4 minutes in, maybe 5 tops, because of me sharing like DB and detailed about the situation. And his response was, you forgot you married someone older than you. You know, 2 different generations, and he's right. Then I had to think about, okay, is this something my grandmother? Yeah. You know, and so now I'm like, hmm, I was wrong. But I addressed that blind spot. Now that I've addressed that blind spot should turn into healthy boundaries.
That is good. Yeah.
Because now me and my husband don't even got a word. Now I had told him I wouldn't do it again just out of being like what do I call it? I was
Spiteful?
spiteful. Like, oh, you don't want me to do this? I ain't gonna do that. But now I had already told him, I was like, okay, well, you know what? I said, not for the people, but for you. You
Out
know,
of respect. Here's the case.
but I had to be willing to one stop consulting with myself. Go with ourselves. Because we ain't gonna tell ourselves nothing wrong, which we ain't, but we gonna tell ourselves what we want.
That part.
And
That
what we
part.
want is not always what we need.
And it didn't bring you peace. That is how you know.
What actions
Shoot.
did bring me peace? In the beginning, yeah, like what I did.
No, I'm talking about
Well,
about
while I was
I
talking.
need to be loved out loud.
Oh,
There
well,
was
that
no
made sense to me.
It made sense, but was there peace there? Because if there was peace there, you wouldn't be questioning.
No, it made sense to me. It made sense to me. But you got me to see it differently.
Right.
Because when I told you that, I wasn't asking you about that. I said, if God, you knew the one that said, no, God does not love us that much. And I was like, yes, he does. See, now, we can be stubborn.
Yes.
I can be stubborn. You can't think that you are the best thing since sliced bread, or you can do no wrong, or that everybody should bow down and kiss the ring. You may think that, but you gotta step away from that.
Yeah.
You can't, you can't remain there and expect God's best
Yep.
to manifest in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Was you gonna
That's
say
good.
something?
That is good.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing though too is whatever we're requiring out of that person
Mhm.
that we're dealing with, regardless of the situation, are we ourselves giving that?
Mhm.
Are you 100% doing it? Because if whatever you ask of somebody, you should be doing
Yes,
yourself.
yes,
And if you're not, you wrong just for
Yes.
even requiring it then.
yes, yes.
But then we all love differently. So
Mhm.
that's another thing that we've got to put on the plate too. We talked about that book, The 5 Love Languages. And that's I told her the way her husband loves is different than the way she shows love.
Which basically took me back around to, I love him though, the way he receives love. So then I need you to love me the way I receive love. Like it's a
Mhm.
two-way door. You know
It
what I'm
is.
saying? We can't just be like, well, this is how I want it and this is how it should be. Like it's a give and give.
In which, after further discussion, he does do. Just not in that one specific instance.
She's right. She's right. I'm over here making faces. But I always have to, the 80-20 rule is absolutely true. You are never going to find some 100%. If you
Exactly.
do, run, because he's manipulating
It's
you.
nice.
He's a
Yeah.
narcissist, because nobody is perfect.
Yeah.
And I know that if I was to ever decide I didn't want to be with my husband or vice versa or whatever, and I decided to go and be with somebody else, I know it's gonna be something about them that irritates me.
Oh, heck yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I have to decide, I can live with this. Because what I'm not dealing with is cheating. You ain't good with money. You out here whatever. You know what I'm saying? I know when I'm not willing to
Everybody's
deal
got
with.
issues.
Yeah, everybody has
Yeah.
issues. So 80%, and I'm even knocking 90-10 with mine. 90-10 with mine. If anything for the, I know I'm the one. If my husband had hair, he would have gray hair. I know I'm the one, But let's get to, we're at the end of the notes. We won't keep you too long. We're gonna make up for last week because we let y'all out early last. Boundaries can be temporary. It can be changed. So you might
Yes.
set a boundary today, and in 6 months, a year, you no longer need that boundary, or you need to make some ramifications to the boundary that has been set. Boundaries are temporary. Never think that they're permanent.
Yep.
Because they're designed to help you evolve and grow.
Yep.
But once you identify a blind spots are invitations. They're invitations to grow.
Mhm.
So here's where we get into, Margot already addressed the first one. Respond, not react. So when you've identified a blind spot, take some time to either respond to the situation or the person. And if God says no response is needed, no response is needed. That means you don't owe anyone an explanation either. You're an adult. Move accordingly. Blind spots is an invitation for you to discern, not deflect. It's a pet peeve of mine. So use the spirit of discernment on how you should respond. Use the spirit of discernment on how to implement a boundary, whatever that looks like. Just don't deflect. Because like I just said, ignoring it is not going to make it go anywhere. If anything, it's going to grow and grow and grow. Or you're going to, and this is for me, because I'm still dealing with something. There's situation that I've dealt with in two completely different environments, but the root of it is the same. And I'm like, what? This. I can't deflect from it anymore. I need to address this so that way I'm not dealing with this in 2 years. Pause, not panic. Be still. Be still and know that He is God. And in that moment of stillness, allow Him to speak to you, allow Him to love on you. But just don't get into panic. Just pause, take a breath, rest, go get something to eat, go read a book, go take a walk. Literally walk away from the situation if you need to, and depending on who it is, if it's your spouse, be like, I need to take a break. If it's your supervisor, I need to take a break. If it's me and Margot, and we haven't had that, but like,
we would respect take a break.
I need to take a break. And then can we come back to this?
Mhm.
And then the last one is trust, not terror. So yeah, you might be a little scared, but who do you trust? Do you trust God? Has God ever let you down?
Trust not what?
Terror.
Terror. Okay.
Terror. TERROR. Has God ever let you down? I don't think so. If you are listening to us, life may not have life the way you wanted it to. You may have experienced some things that you didn't want to experience, but if you're honest with yourself, God has been there. God has shown up. So trust God and trust yourself.
Amen.
Trust yourself. And be honest, because like, are you in that situation because of a decision that you made? Don't beat yourself up. You made that decision with the information and knowledge that was presented to you. But if you have now found out that some stuff was withheld from you, or you would have made a different decision, make a different decision today.
Yep. Or that you were mature at that time of making the decision. And now you know better.
Yes.
Do better.
Do better.
Yep.
And don't doubt yourself. Take it to God. God, let's get it.
Yep.
Let's get this show on the road. So, all right. We're going to end there.
Yes.
We're going to end there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And as Margot always says, hit the subscribe button. Right, always. I think you said kind of almost at the end of every episode.
Just thought that was a thing, and I was saying that.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night.